everybody. Today I'm going to be making spinach pie. It's made with a few simple ingredients, very easy to make, very low in calories and fat, and really tasty. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to start with our crust. It's a very simple crust to make. It's actually the recipe for Filo dough. It's just rolled out a little bit thicker. It's called a homemade Filo dough. You need very few ingredients to make it. We're going to need about 2 cups of flour, some salt, some olive oil, and about a cup of water. We start by pouring in our flour. We add our salt. That's about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit over a teaspoon. We add our oil. That's about a 1/4 cup. Take a fork and we work the oil in with the flour and the salt. We get that all mixed up really well. You don't have to overwork it. This is a very easy dough to make. There's almost no chance of ruining it, and it's really quite tasty. Once that's done, this is just mixed in there a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to add some of our water, a little bit at a time, and incorporate that into the flour. Add a little bit more. Keep scraping the flour in from the sides towards the center. And just a touch more. That looks about right. Now, once you see that you have most of the flour and the water incorporated, you're going to want to knead it a little bit. Press down with the fork. We might want to add just a touch more water. And still have a little bit of flour here on the side. It usually takes about the full cup. At this point, you just start taking it. There's a little bit of flour left here on the side. You work that into it. And you keep folding it over, almost as if you were kneading dough. There's no yeast, there's no leavening agent, there's no anything. Like I said, this is just a simple Filo dough recipe. You can roll it out thick to use for savory tarts, or you can roll it out thin, like the commercial brand that you buy at the supermarket. This isn't non-processed, you're doing it all yourself, so it actually comes out really, really nice. Okay. Once it's all mixed up, scrape everything from the side. And you have your dough. You can see you roll it into a ball there. You pop that into the center. And you cover it with a lid. You don't have to put this in the fridge. It's olive oil based, so it doesn't need to be chilled. You just want to let it sit for a little while. We're going to let that sit while we make our filling for our spinach pie. For our filling, we're going to need 4 to 6 cups of chopped fresh spinach. Try to go with organic. Spinach is one of those foods you really want to go organic with, even if you do nothing else organic. It absorbs a lot of pesticides. It's usually on the list of the most highly pesticided foods. So try to go organic. You can use frozen if you like. That works too. I prefer the fresh. I need 1 red onion, a clove or 2 of garlic, depending on your taste, salt and pepper, some olive oil, and about ½ cup of Parmesan cheese. You can use Pecorino Romano also. You can use Parmesan. I'm going to finish washing and chopping the spinach and all this, and we'll get started. Now that we have everything chopped, we're going to start making our filling. We're going to put a bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. I'd say about 1/4 cup. This takes a considerable amount of olive oil. I'm going to add our onions and our garlic in there. Those are coarsely chopped as well. There's no need to finely chop everything here, including the spinach. You don't want it too finely chopped. And we're just going to warm that. You don't want to brown that. You just want to warm it and let it start releasing its oils and cooking it until it clears, actually, until it becomes a clear. Like I said, we don't really want to brown the onions and the garlic. You want to keep stirring them. And the olive oil like that. You want to cook until the onion is transparent, not starting to brown. We add our spinach. Add that slowly. Oil and the garlic and the onion. You want to add a touch more oil too. Like I said, this takes a fair amount of oil. Spinach seems to be absorbing olive oil a lot, and you don't want it to get watery in your pie. So, like I said, we add the oil. I'm going to let that cook down. Next, we add our salt and pepper. I've added the pepper in here. Salt and pepper to taste. Remember to taste as you go along. You see the spinach start to cook down and put out some of its water. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. Like I said, you can add as much spinach as you like to make a thick or a thin pie. Some people prefer this. I prefer this as a thinner pie. Some people prefer this as a thicker pie. I find when you make it with goat cheese, with some feta cheese, it is nice with a nice thick pie, but when you make something like this, I prefer a thinner piece, a thinner pie. Like I said, it's fantastic for snacks because it has no butter in it. It heats up very quickly. You can heat it up in the microwave to have as a snack or as a lunch item, or I've been known to snack on it cold in lieu of things like potato chips. This is much healthier for you. It's something you can feel good about eating. It's something you can feel good about feeding to your family. It's pretty wholesome. Okay, now we've stirred that all thoroughly. We want to make sure that the mixture we see at the bottom of the pan seems more oily-like than watery. And we're going to just cover that and let that cook. And we're going to go prepare our pie to accept the filling. So we can work on the crust now, get that all ready. This way when this is all cooked up, which doesn't take long, we can just pop it in and cook it right up. While our spinach is cooking, what we're looking to do there is cook the water out of the spinach. So while that's simmering away, we're going to roll out our dough. I'm going to do it on wax paper. Keeps my counter clean and keeps my dough free of picking up any cleansing residue that might be left on the counter after washing or anything like that. Just a habit I like to keep. I'm going to secure my wax paper with a little bit of dough on the ends. It makes cleanup much easier too this way. I'm going to take my pan. I'm going to use this pan. It has a nice depth to it. It's about the size I want. And it has a straight edge to it, which is nice for a savory pie. I'm going to pour a little bit of oil into it, and I'm going to brush that down around the bottom and all around the edges. And this will ensure that my pie doesn't stick and it'll come out easily when I slice. This is a very rustic pie. It's very nice, very hearty. Okay. I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to take a little flour. Flour on my surface. Make sure it's floured very well. I'm going to take my dough, which should have a nice consistency now after setting, and I'm going to cut it in half. Add a little bit more flour. And roll that right out. It rolls out very easily. Keep bringing that flour, keep your surface well floured, keep bringing it in from the edges. Knowing how to make your own Filo dough is actually a nice thing. It's a very simple dough. It's almost impossible to ruin. And you can do 1,000,001 things with it. Like I said, you can roll it out thickly for savory pies. You can roll it out thinly and use it in desserts. That's just about right. I want to make sure it's going to come up all the way on the sides of my pan. I also want to make sure that it's not super thick at the edges. That's about perfect. The thickness, I don't know if you can see, is slightly thick. That's the way you want it. You don't want to roll this out paper thin. You want this on the thicker side. We're going to take our pan, It's very easy to work with, so you don't have to roll it up on the rolling pin or anything like that. We're just gonna put that in there and bring it up against the edges. This way it's all ready for when we're ready to put our dough in there. Press firmly up against the edges so that it doesn't slip away on you. Like I said, it's a very rustic pie. It's not a fancy crust. We're going to do a roll over edge on this so that a filling doesn't leak out. It tends to, spinach pie tends to do that sometimes, so you have to roll the edges. Okay, we want to make sure we get that firmly in the edges on the bottom. Pat that down really well. Make sure there's no air in there. And while we're here, we're going to roll out the top, flour our surface, and have that ready. This way, once we fill the pie, we can put it right on and keep moving along. Our filling should be just about ready. This is a really fast pie too. And like I said, it's great to snack on. It's great to have as a lunch if you like dishes like quiche or something. It's a nice low-calorie alternative. A lot of people like to add goat cheese, and then your calorie content goes up, the fat content goes up, and it's just not quite as healthy of a treat. And sometimes something a little simpler is nice. Sometimes less can be more. And in this instance, I agree with that. This is one of my favorite items to munch on in the house. So I actually enjoy this quite a bit. More flour. Roll out from the center to the edges to keep your circle round. I find that works for me. We'll be trimming the edges off of this and rolling it up, so I won't worry about it being perfectly. Oops. That's stuck there. And that's ready. Like I said, thickness again on the thicker side. We will be right back to this. We're going to go get our filling, stir in our cheese. The cheese is something you want to add at the end. You don't want to cook it up in with the spinach. You want to add that after you take it off the flame. So we're going to go check on our spinach, which should be ready. And we're going to pop our pie in the oven. At this point, we also preheat our oven to 350. And you want to give it a good 10-15 minutes to preheat. You want it nice and hot before you pop your pie in the oven. So we're going to turn it on now. By the time we stir in our cheese and our filling, assemble our pie, the oven should be just at the right temperature for the pie to go. And that looks just about ready. You can see you have a nice oily mixture in there and a little bit of the spinach juice just left, but it's not watery. This is absolutely perfect. Like I said, remember before you add it into your pie to do a final taste test as far as salt and pepper are concerned. And now we want to stir in our grated cheese. So I'm going to do that. You don't want to go overboard with the cheese. It's good if you get a fresh wedge of cheese and grate it yourself. That's always the better tasting option. Any cheese you have will be fine as far as Parmesan. But you don't want to drown the spinach in cheese. You want it to complement the spinach. So we're going to do that. Like I said, about half a cup is good. That smells good. Okay. And we're going to stir it all up. It's going to pick up all the juice at the bottom from the spinach and the oil, and we're going to get a creamy, cheesy spinach mix. I like the fact that you don't need eggs with this. I like the fact that it's simple, low calorie, low fat. The Parmesan cheese, the amount we're using is minimal compared to the amount of goat cheese you would actually put in and the fat you would get from that. Although goat cheese is a low fat cheese, but you have to add the egg when you make it with goat cheese, and that adds to the fat content. And you have to add a lot more goat cheese. So you're getting at least, double, triple the amount when you're using goat cheese. So you have this mix, as you can see, it's your spinach mixed in with your cheese and the spinach juice, and we're going to pop that into our pie shell now. I have my pie shell here. I'm just going to take the spinach mix. You can spoon it out, pour it in. I like to pour it in. So I'm going to do that. Going to spread that around so that it reaches the edges and it's all level. And evenly spread out throughout the pie. Should look like this when you're done. It's evenly spread out. At this point, what you want to do is take your top layer and lay it right over there just like that. And we can finish working right here. And you want to press the edges together. You want to bring them even with the first layer. You want to bring them even with the first layer that's in there, and make sure you press firmly so that you're sealing basically around the edges. We're going to trim the excess off, and then we're going to roll the crust. But you still want to get that seal there first before we do that. As you can see, my filling doesn't go up to the top of the pan, but that's intentional so that I can make that roll on the edge. There. Like I said, it's a rustic pie. The thick crust at the end is part of the experience of it. Okay, that's all. And you want to press down and make sure there's no air in there. So, what you're going to do is just go like this and remove the excess as you go around. want to do is take, I don't know if you can see that, take a little part and start rolling it down until you have something like this. And you just want to keep going around, pulling down, and rolling. Rolling in, try to get rolled twice by the time you reach to the base of the pie. And just go all around, just like that, bringing it down. This will make sure that none of your filling leaks out, and it gives you a nice crust, almost like a you can go around. Once that's done, pat it down and pull in. You'll see that the dough start to rise as you're working on it, you know. So you want to move fairly quickly. That's what it should look like. You can go around and pinch and give it a prettier finish there. Just pinch like that. You just do that by doing a pinch. Pinch at an angle. Really very easy to do. Make sure you're just pinching right where you left off at the one you previously pinched off at, until you've gone all around and you have this. At this point, we want to work quickly. Our oven's preheated. We want to add some sesame seeds. So what I'm going to do is brush it down with a little bit of milk. I just have a little bit of milk in a bowl. I'm going to take my pastry brush. I'm going to brush down that edge. Lightly. I'm trying very lightly. You don't want to ruin what you just did. And then I'm going to brush the surface. That's going to give it a nice color. It's going to help our sesame seeds stick. We're going to add our sesame seeds, going all around. We don't want to get these on the edging. We just want to get them in the center of the pie. If they do get on the edging, it's no big deal. You want to add a generous amount there. Pat them down so that they stick well. That's about. At this point, we want to take a sharp knife and pierce our pie. Make little X's. You can also use a fork. I like to do this. You're going to have to check on it once it's in the oven too, to make sure that they didn't close up and that your pie doesn't puff up on you. Like I said, you can also just go around, pierce it with a fork, still have the same look. This should be your end result. Oops. I'm going to pop that in the oven, like I said, at 350, and it should take 20 to 30 minutes to bake. Our pie is ready. It's out of the oven. It's nice and golden brown. It's going to be set aside now so it can cool. And at that point, this will slide easily out of the pan onto a serving plate, and it'll be much easier to slice. So I'm going to set it aside to cool, and we'll be back. Now I'm just going to show you how easily our pie comes out of the pan. It's cooled. Ooh, still hot. It's cooled enough to take out at this point. And you can see you just lift it up with a knife, take the edge, and it slips right out onto your serving platter. We're going to let that cool a little bit more before cutting it. Came out very nice. Done beautifully on the bottom too, golden brown. We're going to let that cool for a moment. And well, let's go ahead and slice it anyway. Grab 2 mint leaves and pop them on your plate like that. Mint's always a nice touch. On spinach pie. Came out really nice. Very tasty. Like I said, low calorie, low fat. Great snack, great lunch. Even great for dinner sometimes on a summer night maybe. I hope you try it. Let me know what you think.